It is okay.
All right, I'm gonna play the music.
And can you see me?
Yes, I can.
You can see me, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, all right.
All right, I'm gonna play the music.
Started. Okay, no problem. It is okay.
All right, Hey everybody, it's Simone and you're tuned into the Journey Podcast. This podcast is for women from all walks of life to come together and share their stories through their eyes. So thanks for taking the journey with us. I'm gonna play the music. Yes, okay. I have all. Okay. All right, guys. So we've had every possible delay with this podcast. So I know that means it's going to be even greater. I'm so excited because we have none other than the amazing Alexis Baxter. I have known her since I was born. And I'm so excited for you guys to get to know her, about her businesses and all the amazing things that she is doing. So look, we have already wasted enough time. Alexis, can you please introduce yourself to everybody?
Yes, hello guys. Like Simone said, I've known her for years. So I'm blessed to be here today to talk to you guys a little bit about myself. So just getting right into it. If anybody would ask what does Alexis do, you're going to say hair, okay? Now, I started off doing hair professionally 2007 is when I got my beauty salon that I love so much, Kosei Beauty Salon. That's my baby. That's my everything. It's been 13 years. I'm about to celebrate my 13-year anniversary in about 2 weeks. It's unbelievable. I can't believe it. Okay?
I remember it.
Yes, and I'm telling you, it's some stories to tell. To get to them 13 years, you got to know it's some stories, okay?
Absolutely.
Along with having a beauty salon, I also am the co-owner of Bundle Boosters, which is a retail hair company that I have with my cousin Raquel. And we sell bundles and we sell custom wigs, because custom wigs is my thing. We also now offer seminars and we offer classes for those people who want to get educated on hair, who want to learn all about the business. We have a mentorship program now for that as well, and also learning how to make wigs. One of the things that I've been doing now for the past 2 years that came as part of my love for beauty is I have a nonprofit called the Alexis Baxter Foundation. And what that does is we started off doing summer camps for young girls ages 8 through 16, where we teach them all about beauty, and we teach them all about not just on outside beauty, but inside beauty. We know that the beauty business right now and the beauty field is what a lot of our young girls are focusing on. Mm-hmm. So we kind of use it as a platform to teach them from how to, basically the woes and the blessings of life. We teach it through the beauty business, since that's what they're into right now, so we kind of use what they like to get it on in and get that old school loving in there like that. So I just wrote my first book, The Bundle Boosters Boom. Yeah. Okay. During the COVID had me sit down. So I was sitting down. So what I had to, and that's available on Amazon. And I just dropped
You're breaking up, Lex. Lex.
Product outside of
Can you hear me?
For the Bundle Boosters line, which is the at-home wig making kit.
Okay.
So, okay. Can you hear me now?
I did. The thing you said before.
Still breaking up?
A little bit. What did you say right
before? You.
Okay. So it was after the book, but right before the kits. What were you talking about?
After the book, oh, I went right into the kids.
Got it. Okay.
After the book, we dropped our first product outside of a hair product, and that was the wig making kit.
Yeah. Okay.
So 2020 has been a busy year. Even though it started years ago, 2020, I feel like has really catapulted, myself inside the hair business. So that growth, I'm proud of myself and give myself a pat on the back.
Yes. So you said so much, but tell us when like the journey started. When was it that you realized that you wanted to do hair? This was something that you were passionate about.
Okay, so you love something, sometimes you fall out of love again, and you kind of get that flame again. So I had two journeys. My first journey, of course, I knew when I was probably 5 years old, literally that young, that I wanted to do hair. I remember vaguely, parts of when I was young, but I remember begging my mother to teach me how to braid on a Cabbage Patch doll. I remember we used to always go down south to either Ocean City or Virginia Beach. And I remember one of those times I begged her so much that she finally was like, fine. And she taught me how to braid on a Cabbage Patch doll. And from that day, that was it. I never had to ask her to teach me another thing. And I kind of went from there. I knew exactly, what my passion was.
Awesome. So you said so much. When I put on your flyer that you are a beauty mogul, you are literally that. So so talk more about starting your whole your salon. Talk about that process. That was 13 years ago. Social media was there, but not as big. God. So talk about that experience of getting your business.
It wasn't right. Okay, so wow, 13 years ago I was 24. So I was 24. I was a risk taker. You know what I mean? I knew that I wanted to work for myself. Mm-hmm. I knew I had certain experiences working with other people where it was like I didn't like that certain things, and I knew the power to change their business. So, but I knew that if I had my own business, I would have the power to run it the way I would want to run it.
Yeah.
So 24 years old, I opened up my salon. Oh, that was something, because a lot of people don't know the behind the scenes. I had originally worked inside of a downtown shop as a hair assistant. And I saved all my money up for the entire year. I just saved everything up because I knew I was getting a beauty salon. And then I made sure that I took out my credit cards because I didn't have a whole bunch of money. I might have saved up maybe about $4,000 or $5,000. I knew that wasn't enough to open up a salon, but I had got me some credit cards as well, 2 credit cards. I want to say they totaled maybe about 10 grand. So I'm like, all right. Fortunately for me, my boyfriend at the time was like, if this is what you want to do, I'm going to help you. So he helped with the actual decor of the salon, because when I opened the salon, it would have been 4 walls. It wouldn't have been as glamorous as it was when it opened. Yeah. He really supported. I would have got to eventually, but I didn't have the money or the resources to do that. So I was very fortunate for that. Secondly, so that process, I want to say that building got in March. The shop didn't open up until November. Mm-hmm. So that was that long process of getting everything up to par, getting everything done, licensing. And of course, I couldn't work inside the downtown salon anymore because they needed me there more at the shop, because when it's your shop, they you want to put your input in. But I picked up a nighttime job as a taxi cab dispatcher. Mm-hmm. So I did that at nighttime just so I can be at the shop during the daytime while they got the shop together. So, sometimes, and I didn't necessarily want to be a dispatcher, but I did what I had to do in order to make sure that my bills got paid while I knew I was putting out this money and getting my salon together. And funny thing is, I kept that dispatcher job for at least 4 years after the salon opened because down thing. So I can't believe I forgot all about that dispatcher job.
But that's so important for you to talk about, because a lot of times we think that, okay, I'm gonna start a business and that's that, and nothing, like, it's just going to be like poof, it happens. But I'm so glad you talked about that process of what you have to go through. It sometimes you might get it 1 month and it's going to take several more months to happen. So I'm so glad you said that, because it's so important for us to know that it is a process when you are starting something from the bottom. And literally you started from the bottom. So
from the bottom.
Yes. So talk more about, so from that, you talked about a bunch of different things, but talk about your business, their bundle boosters. That's one of your newest things you've been doing. So talk about that.
Right. Okay, so my cousin Raquel, who is also my partner with Bundle Boosters, had been begging me for years, okay, at least past 3 years. Come on, Lex, let's do this hair retail business. At the time, like I said, I had two awakenings in the very beginning, and literally about a year ago or a year and a half ago. And I had kind of lost my way. I lost my way where I had at one point felt like, this taxes, just the everyday upkeep, the overhead. You're like, wait a minute, you know what I mean? You feel like you're really just working your tail off and you're not really seeing the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
So at that point I had begun to deviate. I had kind of lost the faith. I always had the love for it, but I had lost faith for the business, even to the point where I even thought about, like, should I still do this? So I had deviated a little bit and began doing things outside of the salon. So when I made my mind back up about a year and a half ago, just something was like, Lex, you know what? You want to do this and do anything else, just this. When I decided to do that, that is when all my focus went back to the shop, and she noticed it. She noticed, everybody noticed, like, wait a minute, something's different here. Alexis is here 100%. She's not letting anything else, get in her way. She's not deviating from it. And that's when she came to me and she says, okay, so now we're going to do this. And I said, why not? Okay, because at that point I was 100% in, and I was 100% in one place. I wasn't trying to split my time up, any of that. So I was 100% focused, and we started that right after Thanksgiving. I want to say right after Thanksgiving we started that, and honestly, we started it with $800 a piece. That's it. I put up 800, she put up 800. I said, listen, we're going to just keep flipping this, selling and flipping. We have not put up another dollar since we put up our $800 a piece, and that allowed us to get our logo done, our website done, all our flyers done. It allowed us to go from, we started off with one texture straight. Now we have 8 textures. 8 textures that we have now. We have closures now. We have frontals now. I mean, just from $800 a piece, but we were patient enough to allow the business to grow. And I think that's very important. It's not about making the money and taking it. It's about making the money and keeping investing it into your business and watching it grow. So we actually hit our 1 year. It's coming up in about 2 months. And literally in 2 months, we looked like, wow, that was only a year ago. We did all that in 1 year with a total of a $1,600 investment. And we have so many things that have grown so much. So, we're like, okay, well, this year now, we're still going to invest, but now we're going to put a little bit to the side for us now. Absolutely. But we let that 1 year, that very first year, we let that 1 year begin to cycle on its own, and we didn't touch anything. So I definitely think that's very important when you start a business. If you're worried about touching something, you're not going to allow it to grow the way it needs to grow. So patience, it's not something that happens immediately. But when you look back a year, you'll be like, wow, all that happened within a year is unbelievable.
And when you said it, I'm like, oh, wait, it was just a year ago that you guys started that. Yeah. So that's so amazing. I want to talk to you. So, oftentimes, I've done mentoring with young girls, and many of them have mentioned their desires to want to get into the beauty and hair business, but have often been discouraged by their parents or older people. Talk about did you ever have to go through that journey of people discouraging you and telling you like this is not a real career or things like that?
Listen, when I say, it almost makes me emotional, because when I say I had this conversation so much, I literally just had this conversation with my assistant in my shop. When I first started, I knew, like I said, I knew at 5 years old, I wanted to be a hairdresser. I knew it. I knew the love for it. And when I told my mother what I wanted to be, she came from that generation of they didn't have the opportunities to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
So normally every generation wants to give their child the opportunity that they didn't get.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I understand that every opportunity isn't for you if that's not what you want or need.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that's something I would pass down. So I know that she did the best that she could. She wanted the best for me, but I feel like I wasted time and years. I went to college for architecture. I got a full paid scholarship. I was always smart. So she felt like, oh, you got a full paid scholarship, you have to go.
Mm-hmm.
Where after 2 years I left because I felt like this is not what I want to be. Even though somebody is paying for this, I could have turned down that full paid scholarship because that's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
So even through that, even when I left college, it was like, okay, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to go to hair school. Or you go to hair school. It still was like, well, you still need to go to college too. So I was still juggling hair school and now going to college for business. You know what I mean? It was a mess because I really didn't want to go to college, and I didn't need it for what I wanted to do. So I probably say I haven't been to college for probably about 6 years for nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always felt like it was never looked at as a career. It was always looked at as like a side hustle. You know what I mean? A side hustle. And that's something that I always had to battle with. So I'm glad that, my personality superseded what anybody said, you know what I mean? Because the hair industry is a booming industry, you know what I mean? And, if you love something, you're passionate about something. And I always feel like the arts are always kind of watered down. They water down anybody that's into the arts. And that's where I put hairdressing to the arts field. So if you're a painter, they're like, that ain't a real job. You don't get a real job. You know what I mean? But I always tell people all the time, I don't knock people who have a job at all, because if that's what you want to do, it's what you want to do. What I do tell people is a job is going to tell you how much that position is worth. Meaning, if this is the position you're going for, this is how much we're going to pay you.
Yeah.
When you do things yourself and working as a hairdresser, you're pretty much working for yourself because you have to build your own clientele. That's going to tell you the worth of the value of what you do. Absolutely. So you'll be able to put a mark on it, a mark on how you feel. You know what I mean? So literally when somebody says, oh, I can get a regular job. I even had worked at the post office for 2.5 months and I felt like I was suffocating. Okay. I can't do this. Oh, that's a good job. That's a good job. Well, it's a good job. They start you off at $16 an hour. You know what I mean? Right now I'm 13 years in the game now. So I'm literally averaging $60 an hour at at 13 years in the game, and my own schedule and my own freedom. And I don't have to answer anybody but Uncle Sam. Okay. Yeah. So it's definitely, I think it's becoming more respected, but I feel like to the older generation is not as respected. So I went through the same thing with my assistant at the shop because she was like, oh, I'm going to college. She's a great makeup artist. I said, well, what are you going to college for? I don't know. I said, oh, okay. So I had to break it down to her. And I said, well, what do you love to do? She said, makeup. I said, okay. I said, well, listen, put it this way. I said, you're 18 years old. I said, you go to esthetician school. You be there for 3 months. You get your esthetician license. If you decide to open up your own salon, you can do that with that license. I said, you can, and I said, you like to do makeup? I said, you can do makeup, have your own makeup line, whatever else you want to do. I said, if you ever decide you want to go to college, you can always go. I said, but as of right now, I said, follow your passion.
Absolutely.
Because your passion is what's going to keep you, rocking, because you're always going to go back to what you're passionate for. Absolutely. So she came back to me. She says, I'm going to go to esthetician school. I pushed her to work on her craft. So what she began to do was practice, go home, practice. And she started generating money, building her clientele. So I asked her, I said, well, how does your family feel about you doing makeup now? She says, they said, I see you taking this seriously. And I told her that's the number one thing I would tell anybody. If you take it seriously, eventually somebody else would take you seriously. Absolutely. But if you don't take your craft seriously and you take it as a joke, somebody else is going to take it as a joke as well. They're not going to play with anything that you don't play with. So I don't care what it is. If you want to be a sock seller and sell socks, if you don't play with selling them socks, they're gonna be like, who got socks? Oh, such and such got socks. They take all the socks. Listen, that's how it goes. So whatever you do it to the fullest and don't play with it, and people will take you seriously. And that's what I have learned. Absolutely. Even the older people now.
Absolutely. So I love that, although you are in a business that is booming and that you can do so much for yourself, that you're willing to give back. Talk a little bit more about your nonprofit.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, God. The nonprofit is something. The funny part is one of my girlfriends had been told me a couple years ago, was like, Lex, you really need to do like a beauty camp. And I always wanted to do that. I've always had a lot of love, and I always catered to that teenage group, because I always felt like they were the most misunderstood. And that's kind of, I feel like that's how I was when I was their age, misunderstood, kind of like the black sheep. Like, so I always was drawn to that age group. But my issue then was I always was like, oh, time. I woke up one morning, I literally put a flyer together. I had no curriculum, no nothing. I just put a flyer together and I put it on Instagram and was like, you know what? If somebody wants to be part of this, they're going to get part of this. And literally within the first 2 days, 2 people had signed their kids up. At that point, I said, oh goodness. That means I really got to do this thing now. Okay. So my first year, I was like, you know what? Let me get 10 girls. I'll be fine. I wound up with 16. I was like, I couldn't believe it. It definitely was a learning experience for both myself and for the girls, because they learn so much and they pick up so quickly. I feel like we don't give them as much credit as we should. Sometimes we're like, oh, well, they so young. And listen, they are eager to learn. They're eager to do something. You know what I mean? They're eager for someone to give them the skill, responsibility, and something to do. Yeah. They want it. You know what I mean? And it was just such a great experience to see how talented, how creative, that these girls were. And even to be able to do it a second year, because I didn't know if this year it was going to happen because of the whole COVID. Yeah. But they literally allowed us to open up 2 days before the date I picked. To do the camp. So we had to make them smaller, of course. So we did 6 girls, but we did 3 camps. So that's a total of 18 girls we did this summer. And this summer we taught them how to make wigs. Like I had 2 classes teaching girls how to make wigs, and they made them wigs. Yeah. I was like blown away, because I'm like, they're 13 years old and 14 years old. And a lot of times we don't think that they're capable of doing things, and they are very capable as long as we show them, give them the steps, and you only got to show them one time,
and they do
one time.
Listen. Awesome. So my next question, I always ask everyone who comes on the podcast. We all carry, I believe, on this journey, we carry an invisible backpack. What would you say is in your backpack? If it's songs, people, quotes, what is it that helps you through your journey?
Okay, so I have multiple things that I do, but the number one thing that I have, and I feel like 2020 has really reactivated it to a different level, is my faith. And I feel like, through everything that you do, anything that you do, you're going to get adversity, you're going to get bumps, you're going to get hurdles through everything. But the faith of knowing that I'm going to be okay allows me to not have the fear to stop me from doing something. It's like, you're going to do it. You'll be fine. Like, I'll hit something and be like, oh, goodness. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be all right. So, and I think it's very important for people not to be fearful, be fearful, but to have faith to know, you know what I mean? That is like to all any issue I come through. I immediately shut down, be like, you know what? God got me. I got this. God got this. I have faith that I'm going to be okay. And when I look back at all the things I've been through, I said, I got through it. I was okay.
Yeah.
I don't care how bad it was. I'm like, I got through it. I was okay. So moving forward, once you know that you're going to get through something, you'll be okay. It's just a process.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it opens up the door for you to really explore and be you and do everything that your heart desires, because you're not scared of the unknown. You
Yeah.
know, whether when the unknown comes, you know that you're going to be okay and you're going to get through it. That's just part of the process. So that's something I always carry with me. Like, nope, you're going to be all right.
Yeah.
I tell people to always look at their past experiences that they thought they wasn't going to get through, and they got through it. So I'm like, reflect on that.
Yeah. Absolutely. So there's so much that comes to mind when I think of you. Before I ask you this next question, I forgot to talk about this part of your journey. You just, I'm not sure if you finished it yet, but you've been on tour. You've been, what's it, Boston, tell us, before we go to
Oh,
the last
God.
question, tell me about that.
Let me tell you. This is such a crazy thing. Okay. Oh my God. Bosses at business is such a crazy thing. My girlfriend was like, Lex, I think I'm gonna go over to Denver because a lot of my clients are in Denver and I want to, explore that. So I said, okay. I said, I said, I don't mind. I said, if you want company, I'll come with you, not a problem. Then I called up, was like, you want to do a whole tour? She was like, absolutely. I'm like, all right. I said, well, I'll come over to your house tonight. We'll pan out all the cities and we'll go from there. I went to her house that night. We panned out 10 cities. Not only did we pan them out, we booked all the flights. When I say, because of the whole COVID thing, these flights were cheaper, I want to say we booked a 10 city tour. Flights came up to maybe $60. I mean, $600, and 60
Wow.
bucks a piece. $600. That was a round trip to 10 different places.
Wow.
So we was like, we couldn't believe it. And it was like this, it was meant for us to do it because everything just fell into place. It was so easy. Like, it was so easy. We couldn't believe it. So we still got 2 cities left. We're learning so much by traveling, just seeing other areas, seeing other people, seeing how things are being done. And when people ask us like, well, what are y'all doing? We really don't even know. Once again, we just jumped out there on faith. We jumped out there. This was more of a learning experience for us. We did only what we know. And what we know is talking to people and passing out flyers.
Yeah.
But through that, we've made a lot of connections. We've learned different things about different areas. So now when we already have been talking about doing our second tour will be a little bit more targeted now to exactly what we want. But we had to start somewhere in order for the doors to open. But what it did open the door for me was, it began, since I started traveling, it began opening the door for me now to begin traveling to hair schools. So I actually just did my second hair school free demonstration to the students on how to make a wig on a sewing machine. I literally take all my supplies in my sewing machine. I go there and I do an hour and a half demonstration and I make an entire wig in front of them, and they can ask me all the questions and pick my brain. So it opened up a door for that.
That's amazing.
Which I always tell people, you might walk through one door, and that one door you walk through might not be for you, but it might lead you to another door that's for you. Sometimes it's the tunnel to get you to another door. You know what I mean? So I'm very open right now to see where it's going to take me, but I'm really enjoying it right now. You know what I mean? So I'm excited.
Yes. So you've been dropping nuggets the whole time. We're getting ready to wrap up. But I want you, if you could give any words of encouragement, inspiration to someone who might go on a journey very similar to yours, what would they be?
My definitely my words is, don't wait. Now, all I can say, activate, push the button now. You ain't got to plan it. You don't got to plan it because most of the time things don't go as planned anyway. You don't got to wait. It's nothing ever perfect time. It's not no such thing as perfect time and perfect day, perfect nothing. You just do it.
Yeah.
You just do it. And that is the best advice I can give someone, is because life is short. Tomorrow's not promised. And your happiness and your joy and your substance of life is one of the biggest things that you want to have. Okay. It's just being able to genuinely 100% be happy. And you're only happy doing what you love. So if you're waiting on it, then you're taken away from your life. So absolutely just do it. All people want to do something, just do it. That's it.
Yes, I love it. So what's next for you? What can we expect to come from you and your many endeavors?
Well, what I'm doing now, I'm actually in the process of, I'm going to do a Zoom class for everybody, of course, but I have a special prices for students and beauty professionals. But I'm doing a big Zoom class. This will be my first Zoom class that I've ever done. My goal is 100 people. It's going to be January 24th, where I will be teaching them how to make a wig on a sewing machine. I also am dropping in January a mentorship program for people who want to get inside the beauty business. I can't say I can coach them because I'm still trying to get certain things in order that I want to get in order, but I can mentor them where I can at least talk to them about what I've been through and kind of guide them in the right direction to keep them on their path, or kind of be like that big sister, like, let me hold your hand, like this is what you do type thing.
Yeah.
So that's going to launch in January, but that's definitely for the anybody interested in the beauty business and that part of it. So that's all coming in January. I'm setting all those good things up now, so I'm excited about that.
Yay! So before we end, I want everyone to be able to follow you, to follow your businesses, to stay in the loop. I know it's a couple of them, but I want you to give everybody all of your social medias. They need to know in every single way how they can support you. If it's through one of your businesses, your nonprofit, just tell them how they can stay in contact with you.
Absolutely. Well, my personal page is Cookie Jar by Lex. Cookie Jar by Lex. And that page, I list everything inside of my bio from all my different businesses. I like people to come to my personal page because that's when you see my personality and you see more of what I do on a regular basis. So you understand that this is real over here. Okay. But it'll give you, if you go to that profile page, it'll show you the bundle boosters, Instagram, bundle boosters wigs Instagram, the Alexis Baxter Foundation Instagram, and the Kosei Beauty Lounge Instagram. And each one of those, they all have their own website that will show upcoming classes, upcoming camps. You can look at photos, videos, seminars of everything that I've done and everything that's coming up. Yes. Cookie Jar by Lex.
Cookie Jar by Lex. So just like how you spell cookie, COOKIE, jar, JAR, by BY, Lex, LEX. Make sure you guys follow her. She's doing amazing things. If you know, if you are looking for some hair, a wig, if you know a kid who is interested in getting into the beauty business, make sure you guys get in contact with her. You will not be disappointed. Lex, I thank you for coming onto this podcast. I knew it was going to be amazing, or we would not have had so many technical difficulties tonight.
I actually don't mind it. I don't. Listen. Like I said, it never goes as planned. But however it goes is how it's supposed to be planned. That's how it's supposed to be planned. Okay. Yeah. So I really, really appreciate you having me too, and I really hope that everybody that tuned in, everybody watching, definitely learn something from this. And you can always reach out. Always shoot me a DM if you need any help with anything. One of my biggest things is always giving back. That's the most important thing, especially in our culture. We need to give back.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Lex. Thank you for everyone who watched or is going to watch the replay or listen to this on our podcast channel. Life won't be easy, but it's a journey worth taking. So thank you guys for taking the journey with me and Alexis tonight. And we'll see you all soon. See ya.